Welcome to the Ricardo del California Show. I'm here today with my distinguished guest, Nicholas Engel. Today's episode, ladies and gentlemen, is about neoclassical fashion. Nicholas, we've met a couple of times over the last few years, and whether it's in Pacific Beach or we met downtown, and you are always out, dressed, looking amazing. Tell us a little bit about neoclassical fashion.
Neoclassical fashion came into being after the neoclassical architectural styles of the mid-18th century, and neoclassical fashion came in the 1790s, right during the end being of the French Revolution, and lasted until the late reign of King George IV, being the early 1830s, late 1820s.
The clothing that you have amassed, and you have an entire collection that you wear on a daily basis, if I'm not correct. Let's start off with a couple things. So, the clothing that you wear, a lot of our viewers would like to know, how have you outsourced some of these clothes, or have you had them fabricated for you? So, for example, maybe we should start off with the pants, which obviously we have here up on the screen. What do we call these type of pants that you're wearing?
Breeches. So breeches for formal wear. They are also, at that time, were casual wear. They were often for riding. A more rougher material like buckskin or canvas was used for day-to-day activities, especially in a more utilitarian sense.
Okay.
And silk was done for court or any type of formal event, especially in the evening.
The shirt is very unique, and what is the shirt made out of?
The shirt is made out of linen, which was very common. It was linen shirts were worn in a variety of different climates.
Okay, and I'm going to call it a tie, or is it a cravat? Is the correct word?
A cravat is a form of tie. It was the first form of tie. Of course, there's multiple forms of ties, whether they're bow ties or neckties. They both stem from the cravat. Through the 19th century, there was a linear progression. The cravats got smaller and smaller, and the bows got more and more minimalistic until they became the bow tie. And other cravats just became longer and more simple, and that became the necktie.
Okay.
So,
we have the necktie. Circa what time did the necktie kind of come into play?
probably around the 1870s, 1880s, and by the 1890s it was pretty standard.
Okay. And then the ascot. Tell me a little bit about the ascot. I do enjoy wearing an ascot. What time frame are we talking about?
The ascot is interesting because an ascot could be either a formal ascot, which is modern day formal cravat, which is worn over over a wing collar.
Yep.
Or imperial collar, which is worn with morning dress, or it could be the type that you refer to, which is more people are used to seeing in a more casual context, and it's worn under the shirt, and it is usually worn with a blazer or a suit and with a lower gorge. There's two types of ascots, both derived from the cravat. The formal cravat, or the formal ascot, is still technically a modern version of the cravat.
And now the hat. The hat, there is a bit of a story behind this hat, is there not, sir?
Yes.
If you could tell me a little bit about art. Is top hat the correct term?
Yes, the specific style of top hat is the Wellington top hat, after the Duke of Wellington, which really suited his face and his grace very, very well. It's typically a 7-inch crown, but in order to wear it sometimes in a more modern context, I wear it with a 6.5-inch crown. It has a wide flare on the top.
It does.
Which is a very gallant and elegant style that is most sought after in the top hat market. And what also makes it a Wellington, what gives it that signature Wellington look, along with the full bell crown, is the low dipped on the front and back brim with the high curl. So that's why it's specifically a Wellington top hat.
Yeah, and it's
Those two things coupled together.
Right, and it's quite lovely. And then the high sheen. We had a discussion. Before the interview. You were shining this, but you were shining it with a chemical that I would not think would be likely for it. But you actually shined it with, I think, a
turpentine.
Turpentine.
White mineral spirits, turpentine, and a base coat of feed-in wax to make the furs lay down smooth so they don't stand up when it's polished with the turpentine.
Now, what about if we get into some rainfall? What happens here? Does it get ruined, or does the...
No, it doesn't. The beaver fur is quality enough that it wouldn't get ruined at all. It would just need a little revival. Rain, because rain, the water in rain is very polluted from, living in a city. If you're in Wyoming in the middle of the country, that would be different.
Yes.
But because the rain in any city is so polluted, that messes the clarity of the fur, both the shine and the overall radiance of the fur. So it does need to be rejuvenated due to the pollutants in the water.
Right, and this is beaver pelt.
Beaver pelt, vintage beaver pelt. Yeah, not just modern beaver pelt.
Okay. Now, if somebody can go online if they want to find something similar to this, if you wanted to find a true Wellington top hat, did they say that right?
Yes.
Okay. Where would I find such things?
You could go probably to 3 people that I could think of off the top of my head. Myself, who I am a hatter. Craig Esther in Tampa Bay, Florida, who I've learned a lot from. Probably the finest top hatter alive today. And he is the only silk top hatter who can make silk plush top hats today. So I only make them out of fur. And the third is John Mimicking, who made this hat over a decade ago in Ontario, Canada.
Right. Now, for those of us that do not know Nicholas, you have a hat company, is that right?
Yes, Nicholas Engel Hatters or Engel Hatters.
Okay. Short. And the types of hats we make?
Fedoras, homburgs, top hats, bowlers, things.
I understand a bowler, a top hat, fedoras. There was one that you mentioned that I'm not familiar with.
Are you speaking of the bicorn hat?
The bicorn hat.
Yes, the bicorn hat. At this current time in the early 19th century, the top hat was casual fashion as it was a new fashion.
Right.
And the bicorn hat, which is a form of cocked hat, which was the formal fashion and considered appropriate in most professional settings. Of course, it's most often associated with the military or military police of the time.
And as far as those hats, do we have one here on the premises?
We do. I can show you.
Okay. All right. So this is a bicorn hat. Oh, let's take a look at it. The bicorn hat. Now, for the people who would look at this, they would say this is very Napoleonic at that time, yes?
Yes.
Or the Revolutionary times.
It came to be right around the end of the Revolutionary times, especially by the French king, the military elite, but then it transitioned into an everyday item.
Okay. Now, and again, for growing up as kids, we would see something like Paul Revere would wear something like this, correct?
No, he would wear a different form of cocked hat, which is often referred to as a tricorn. So that was before this era.
Tricorn, and this is a?
Bicorn. 2 points as opposed to 3 points.
Okay, and where's our 2 points here? Is this 1?
1, 2. So the front is relatively flat. When the corner is pointed in a complete triangle, that's how you know it's a tricorn.
Okay.
And was still worn in formal occasions well into the 20th century in royal court.
Okay. And now this would be a civilian incarnation, correct?
Yes, because there's no, the pattern is a civilian incarnation, and the cockade bicorns show whether it's civilian, military, police, livery. They give the designation similar to what a badge would be now.
Okay. Could you point so we understand a little better?
For being there.
Okay. So point out, if you will, for us what the everything is.
So yes, this is the cockade. These are the gutters, as they say. The back, which is almost always higher than the front, to give that type of intimidation or authority, as a bicorn hat has very little utilitarian practice, and it's simply a hat of eminence. So the fan, the back, is typically colored
than the fan, and the sides are the gutters.
Sides are the gutters.
And the emblem here, or the flap coming over,
is the cockade.
The cockade, okay.
And the cockade, this is a civilian cockade.
Okay. Now, okay, so we have military, we have civilian, and you said livery. Help me out with livery. For those
livery would be some type of servants, like footmen. Footmen, on rare occasion in England, still wear bicorn, especially on state occasions. It depends on the monarch, what headwear they choose. And the police, especially military police and certain police in Europe, they still wear this in formal uniforms.
They do, and I think the guard at the Vatican have a similar hat, perhaps, or no?
I believe they wear a type of Mauryan helmet, but the I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But the military police, which are the most common form of police in civil life in Italy, the Carabinieri, they wear in any type of formal uniform.
Correct. Okay, so we have the top hat and the bicorn.
The bicorn, yes.
Bicorn hat, okay. All right, so obviously you spent years of massing the clothing, perfecting it, tailoring it, even started your own hattery, if you will, correct?
Yes.
We've done all these sort of things. If I may go back a bit, about what age did we start getting into this very unique neoclassical fashion?
I started getting into it when I was 2 years old, and for my 3rd birthday, I asked my mother if I could have a suit.
Yes.
So that's when it started. I was fascinated by the monarchies and the armies of Europe, at that time.
Okay. And in your company that you have, what are the materials that make up the fedora?
I tend to stick ideally with beaver belly fur, as it has a nice radiant sheen and a density that's truly luxurious. It's also incredibly lightweight, which makes it very comfortable to wear in the summer. Close to identical to vintage felts. I also, for a more utilitarian purpose, if you need to get a lot of wear or you don't want to nurture your hat as much, I also make rabbit fur hats or nutria fur hats.
Okay. And you said belly fur. Not just any fur, not back fur, not the tail.
Yes,
the belly is
the belly is the finest. Yes, I make beaver belly, which is my signature. But I can also, if you want a more durable hat that you don't have to worry about not getting stained, I can also use back fur from the beaver and other things.
Wow, I mean, this is very specific, obviously, than you're just buying on Amazon and just getting a synthetic material made out of what? Felt?
Wool, yeah.
Wool. Okay, so we're way beyond this. And the parts of the animal that we actually use from this. All right, so now we have a treat for you because Nicholas here, this is the neoclassical, would we say early?
Early neoclassical, so it's the neoclassical fashion in a pure sense. Of course, it's had many revivals through the centuries.
Okay.
So it's continued its principles and allowed its principles to be modernized in new forms, in new fashions. But as long as neoclassical principles mathematically are presented, then it can continue in other mediums.
Yes. So once again, to recap, the time frame that you are wearing this outfit is from when to when?
This particular outfit, late 1810s, 1819 to about the late 1820s.
Okay. And then we're going to go into another incarnation as we're going to show you another type of neoclassical, more, what should we say, modernized? Is that
more
right?
Modernized? It's neoclassical fashion within, or neoclassical revival fashion within a modern context of the English drape suit.
Okay. And we're going to show that here in just a second. Well, hello again. This is Rick Cardledale, California. Thank you so much for watching my show. It means so much to me. If you like what you saw today, please subscribe, and I'll see you real soon.